What's up, everyone? It's Jayden here. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most uncomfortable truths in global development history.
For the last 50 years, over $1.2 trillion of aid money has been poured into Africa repeatedly. That's more than the entire GDP of countries like Spain, Australia, or South Korea combined over time.
Yet instead of reducing poverty, many places actually saw it get worse, not better. I'm telling you why today. Through the eyes of someone who lived it on the ground. This is the story of Dr. Aisha Okoro. And why good intentions sometimes make things worse. Let's get into it properly with real substance today. Dr. Aisha Okoro was once a bright-eyed young economist in Abuja, Nigeria. In the early 2000s, she joined a major NGO. She managed large health and infrastructure projects funded by Western governments and big foundations. The excitement back then was electric.
Billions were flowing in after the perceived success of the Marshall Plan in Europe. Everyone believed the same formula would work.
At first, it felt genuinely incredible. New clinics were built, thousands of children vaccinated, and reports looked amazing everywhere. But on the ground, Aisha started seeing a very different and troubling reality. The new hospitals often had no doctors. Roads washed away after the first heavy rainy season because contractors used substandard materials and quietly pocketed the difference. Village chiefs and high-level officials drove luxury cars while the communities they were meant to serve still lacked basics. Aid wasn't just disappearing into thin air. It was feeding the same system, keeping people trapped in poverty. Aisha once confronted a powerful local chief controlling aid distribution.
This is how things work here.
He smiled and said, "This is how things work here.
The white man's money is for those smart enough to catch it." That conversation changed everything for her.
She watched talented entrepreneurs in Lagos struggle for months just to get permits, while connected elites received millions easily. Local businesses couldn't compete with floods of free or subsidized foreign goods. Farmers quit because imported rice was cheaper.
The money created dangerous dependency instead of real independence. The deeper Aisha looked, the clearer the problem became.
In countries with weak institutions, poor rule of law, and unclear property rights, billions often corrupt instead of build.
Governments that receive most of their funding from outside donors don't need to tax their own citizens properly.
That breaks the natural social contract. Citizens lose leverage to demand better services or hold leaders accountable.
Corruption becomes easier and more widespread when leaders answer mainly to foreign donors. Some countries relied on over 60%
of entire government budgets. Leaders had little incentive to build strong economies when the next aid check was guaranteed. Aisha saw presidents flying private jets to conferences and ministers wearing expensive watches while citizens lacked clean water.
Estimates suggest Africa loses around $30 billion every year to corruption alone, a massive portion of aid received.
The aid didn't just fail to help. In many cases, it actively made the underlying problems worse.
After more than a decade in the system, Aisha made the difficult decision to leave the big NGO.
She now runs a small independent research institute that partners with honest local governments and private businesses.
These partnerships will drive real change.
A model for ethical, impactful progress.
The progress is slower and harder, but it's real and lasting, built on trade, property rights, and accountability.
Real development has to come from within African societies through stronger institutions, not endless external handouts from outside. This story isn't about assigning blame. It's about learning the hard lessons from decades of repeated experience.
Good intentions without strong, accountable institutions can trap people in poverty instead of lifting them out for good.
Africa has incredible potential, incredible people, and incredible natural resources. The real path forward is building the right rules. If this video made you think differently, drop a like, leave a thoughtful comment, and share it with someone. Subscribe for more real, in-depth talk on economics and development. Stay sharp, stay curious, and I'll see you next time.